Give me diamond watch, give me platinum plaque. I'm a goon or something, I make do with that. Ain't here to small talk, don't need the chat. Know that I was made in the lab. The scientist screaming, oh my God. Give him swagger, a tone beach bar. Let him hit the streets, let them die. What it mean to be great when you at halftime? When you're 20 years old, never had a touchdown. When you lose a control, all your brother's been gone. You're confused, you alone, never earned you a dime.
I got the goal, I think I'm gonna win. Race in the morning now.
Welcome to another powerful episode of the Just Saying Podcast, brought to you by Gateway 8082, right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, where real conversation meets real impact and voices turn into movements. Today, we are honored to be joined by a dynamic force of purpose, passion, and poetic healing. She's an international poet, a full-time Amazon bestselling author, and a motivational speaker who has turned pain into power and purpose into influence. Ladies and gentlemen, help us welcome the incredible Mirada Bradford to the platform. Welcome to the Just Saying Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Ferman, along with my lovely team in her absence, Lo, as well. And this is another product of Gateway 8082, where we love having real people on here who doing real life things, turning their pain into purpose and sharing a story. And I know that our guest today, she has an amazing story, amazing testimony. Had an opportunity to be able to talk with her on social media, and we talked on the phone for a short moment. She accepted the invite and she's here. So welcome to the Just Saying Podcast, brought to you by Gateway 882. Go ahead, introduce yourself. It's about you. It's featuring you. We want to get to know you. Take us into the extraordinary woman that you are.
Well, good morning, everyone. My real name is Mirada Bradford. My poet name is Poetic Healing, which is transforming pain into poetry, healing one verse at a time. And I would just like to say thank you for having me on the show today. I appreciate it. And I also want to say thank you for our convo and keeping me prayed up. I appreciate that.
Man, awesome. And you also, and I appreciate you as well.
Yes, sir.
Poet Healing, of course, is the name that you go by. You have a very impressive resume. You're originally a Louisiana native. Currently you made Texas your home, of course, and I know you're doing extraordinary things here in the state of Texas. And kudos to you as well. So we're gonna get
Thank
off
you.
into that. So our first segment is going to Roots, your story. This is the first segment of today's episode. So take us back. I know you grew up in Louisiana. So take us back to growing up in Louisiana and how everything started. Take us back to your roots.
Well, my roots started off kind of rough. Yes, I was born and raised in Cullen, Louisiana. I was born to a 14-year-old girl, teenage single mom. I also was born deceased to this teenage mom. My grandmother's husband, his name was Donald Myers. He was white. He just passed away in December 2025. He the one that gave me mouth-to-mouth CPR, in spite of the doctor saying that she's already deceased. It's no longer to keep trying. I thank him for believing God and being obedient to God's word. And he continued to give me CPR until I started breathing. So I will always be grateful for that. And for him, even though he has passed on, he actually outlived my mom and my grandmother. My mom passed away in 2020. She was 55. And my grandmother, she passed away at 45 in 1998. And he just passed away in December of 2025. Like I say, he was white. He was there all of my life. He helped my mom, my grandmother raise me and my other siblings. He even outlived them both, but he never swayed away from even help raising us and continue to be in our lives even after we was grown. So I'm very grateful for that. Growing up, childhood wasn't easy. At an early age, I had already experienced rape, molestation, trauma, and all those traumatic things. And I left Cullen. I think I was like, I had my first child at 26. So I left Cullen. I think I was like 30, 31. No, about 29. Yeah, 30. And I moved to Shreveport. Um, I always was a writer. I even through high school and everything, I wrote. Uh, I had a lot of classmates and people die at a young age, so I would write poems and stuff for their funerals and things. But I ended up moving to Shreveport after I had my daughter, and then I got pregnant again. I think I was like 28, 29. Uh-oh. I got pregnant again, and then tragically, I had that baby beat out of me in a domestic violence dispute that I didn't even know I was pregnant with. And then I got pregnant again at 31, at 30, and I had my son. And then I stayed in Shreveport till I was, I stayed in Shreveport for like 11 years. And then I started to pick my pen back up, but it just like, it was gone. Like I couldn't write anymore. And I remember having a conversation with a guy and asking him, what's going on, why I can't write no more. And even though I was writing for funerals and just writing stuff, because one reason I was writing is because writing was my escape from everything that I was going through. And like one day I couldn't write anymore. So I asked God like why I can't write anymore. And he was like, well, until you use your pen for my glory, you will not be able to write. Until you use your pen to glorify me, you will not be able to write. And so with that, like, it really broke my heart because I knew that I had a gift for writing. And I knew that I had the gift of being a poet. But through all the traumatic things I had experienced, I no longer believed that I could do it. And so life had got to life it, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it no more. And so I didn't do it. And then I moved to Texas in 2019. I stayed in Shreveport like 9 or 10 years. I left there. Yeah, I moved there in 2011 and I left there in 2019 and I moved to Texas. And the thing of it was in Shreveport, poetry wasn't popular then. Uh, Poetry wasn't mainstream or anything like that. It wasn't until I moved here. So I would say in 2021, in 2021, I picked it back up. And when I picked it back up, it just been nonstop ever since. I didn't expect for it to take me as far as it has taken me. I didn't expect to become an author like that because I always knew as a kid that I wanted to write. And I always knew writing was my escape. And I always knew that I would, publish a book, want to publish a book. I didn't know how it was going to happen or how it was going to come about or even having the funds to write it. And so I was blessed to be able to find a publisher that say, you know what, if you got a dream and you really wanted to write, you write it and I'll publish it.
So
Which
it
his
sounds like,
name, which his
so at
name is
that
Matthew
point,
Santana. And that's when I started initially believing in me. And growing up, I always had a load of responsibility. I was grown before my time. Um, so not only did my mom have me at 14 by the time she was 21, 19 she had 3, by the time she was 21 she had 5. And so my responsibility was to help take care of my siblings. Even all through school, all through high school, that was my job, was to help take care of them. Even if it means putting my homework and my stuff that I had to do on hold just to make sure they were straight, then that's what I did. And so with that being said, once I got to Texas and I picked my pen back up, it's just been taken off.
Because you had to make an impact, right? And that's why we love envisioning yourself making an impact to impact others around you. And just
Right.
hearing your story and your testimony, I know your testimony and your story can set a lot of people free. That just because it started off rough, the end of it can be a beautiful story. How we make it to be, right? So that really leads up
Exactly.
to you did. I read your bio. You gave me bio, of course, and I know you spoke openly about domestic violence, cancer awareness, and ADHD. How did the
Right.
experience impact you personally?
Again, domestic violence. My first relationship, first pregnancy was rooted in domestic violence because my daughter was an addict. My daughter's dad was an addict, and I didn't even know he was an addict, and he was addicted to crack cocaine. So, that was a very tumultuous relationship, and pretty much life changing, life altering situation there. Um, I had to fight to go in labor. I fought in labor, and I had to fight for my life in order to lead a relationship. And I chose my child instead of me, and that what made me leave, because I had to raise her, and I didn't want her to see the things that I went through in order to survive, in order to raise her. And so, and then not only that, years later, that's what I'm saying, I was pregnant with a child that I didn't even know I was pregnant with. And I was trying to help a friend and end up in a domestic violence situation with this man, and I wasn't even in a relationship with him. And I was pregnant with a baby, and he grabbed me around my neck and he choked me, but not knowing that I was pregnant. And his choking killed my child. And so domestic violence impacted me in a million ways than one. Because the thing of it was, when I thought I was leaving a relationship to not go through it again, I experienced it again trying to help a friend, which caused me to lose a child that I didn't even know I was pregnant with. And then on top of losing the child, they didn't do a DNC on me. I had to carry the child still, knowing that the child would not make it to the world and the child would be born deceased. I still had to carry that baby until that baby passed through. And so that came with a lot of trauma. That came with a lot of hurt. That came with a lot of sadness, because in that stage of my life, I thought I was about to lose my mind because of the trauma that I had dealt with that situation. Like, I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking I would hear a baby cry, and I would look for this baby, knowing that my baby died at the hands of somebody that I wasn't even involved with. and that baby would be 15, would have been 15 this year.
Mm.
Um, ADHD, ADD, mental health, period. I have a son that's 13, and he ADHD, ADD, behavior disorder, PTSD, and all those things. And so I have to deal with him accordingly, plus deal with medications as well, and deal with, all the doctors, specialists, and things of that nature dealing with him. Cancer, my great grandmother died with cancer. I had aunties and other relatives. My grandfather on my dad's side died with different types of cancer. And my dad is dealing with cancer right now at this stage of his life. So everything I mentioned was detrimental to me. I dealt with everything firsthand. But on the brighter side, I'm able to push through it and still talk about it to help or to free someone else.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that's what it's all about, poetic. And we overcome by the power of our testimony. And I know that the scripture does say, whom the Son set free is free indeed. So we know that you are free to be able to
Yes, sir.
share this because it's going to help someone. And big shout out to everyone that's in the comment section. Big shout out to Mars71 said, thank God you still here and sanity. So big thank you for tuning in this morning. And also, you're on the YouTube channel. Go
Man,
ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel of the Just Saying Podcast with me and Laresa. So y'all get us live every Wednesday. We go live every Wednesday. And also, big shout out to Mrs. Jones out of Fort Worth, Texas. She said, Proverbs 14:23, don't just talk about it, do it. Our actions are over our words. We work. God's grace, my love. You are doing the work. So, big shout out to Mrs. Jones as
thank
well.
you, Miss
Also,
Jones.
so big shout out to her. Just listen to your story, poetic. I'm glad. I think all you still here, and after all the pain and
Thank
suffering that
you.
you ran through, that you still in your right frame of mind. Because we know we see a lot of people who went through the thing that you went through don't bounce back. They turn to drugs. They
Right.
turn to alcohol. Their mind's completely gone. But by the
I
grace of the
hear
Most
my
High,
share. I
yeah,
and I can honestly say, yeah, it was a time to where it was so heavy. Like I said, I thought I was gonna lose my mind, but I only can give God all the glory and all the grace and all the mercy for even keeping me. Like I've never even heard of a situation where the hospital make you tote the baby, make you continue to go on with the pregnancy until the baby passed through. Like I had to tote that baby until that baby came out of me. I had to walk around with that baby in me until that baby came out of me. So yeah, I started and I thank God. And even but I was in a relationship with an addict. I never tried crack. I never tried cocaine. I've never only thing I've ever tried was weed and maybe an X pill or two or three. But I never was on a drug to where it was heavy or I was an addict. I was always able maybe to smoke 2 or 3 months and then quit for the rest of the year or something like that. But I've never had an addiction problem with a drug. And still again, by God's grace and mercy, I thank God for that because I known people that have lost their mind. I've known people that walk around with 3, 4, 5 jackets on, 2, 3 pair of pants on at one time. I've sat front row seat to those people. And again, I still thank God every day that He graced me enough to still be in my right mind and not having to go that far to even deal with it. And so, and for a long time, um, I was angry because I knew the hand that I was dealt wasn't mine. I knew I didn't deserve it. But I also knew that deep down somewhere, God had a purpose for me. Even when it hurted so bad, even when I felt like everybody was against me, even when I felt like, even when it came to rape and molestation, didn't nobody believe me. Um, Even being bullied in school, I still always felt that God had a greater purpose for me. But I also felt bad and sad most of the time because a child being dealt a grown person's hand is something deeper on a whole nother level. And being a child, being dealt a grown person's hand and not being able to mentally process or mentally express or explain why you feel a certain way or why this happened, or to be able to say what is therapy or what is counseling or what is mental health. Back then it wasn't a name for none of it. And it wasn't no such thing as counseling or therapy. Like I said again, I was born to a 14-year-old kid that dropped out in the 7th grade due to being pregnant with me. She could only take me so far, and I was angry with her a lot of the time because I felt like she didn't protect me. I felt like she could have did more. I felt like she could have did better. But again, she was only 14. And so that came with a lot of forgiveness, a lot of dealing with a lot of the hurt on my own because didn't nobody understand. And then when my mom ended up having a stroke and aneurysm when she was like 32 years old. At this time, I'm in high school. She didn't get to high school, so she couldn't help me with work. She couldn't help me with what I needed to get to the next level of my life or the next stage. And so, like, I really had to search deep within myself to learn to forgive because she didn't have the tools. She wasn't taught. And so, like, that took a whole lot of soul searching. And then to be able to get the answers that I needed before she even passed away. Because, like, when my mom had the stroke, my mom never bounced back. She had the mind of a 7-year-old kid. And so, therefore, with that being said, my mom had to have 24-hour care until she left this world. And so, I was never able to be my own individual person. I was never able to have my own identity other than that's your mama. Other than you can do it. My grandmother had already passed. Grandfather had already passed. Village was already gone. So I didn't have that. And I still don't have it today. And yes, it does get hard. But I still, in spite of it all, I still keep pushing. And so with that being said, again, I can't do nothing but give praises to God because yes, I've had several hard days and I still have them. But I'm grateful that I'm still in my right mind and still being able to talk to someone, to free somebody else. Because I didn't learn nothing about counseling. I didn't learn nothing about boundaries. I didn't learn nothing about therapy until I started having my own kids. So it was never nothing that was, given to me. I always had to deal with everything silently on my own. Or I just wouldn't talk because either people wouldn't understand or I don't believe you or you just a kid but you wise beyond your years. Well, how you think it happened? How you think I got wise beyond my years? Because I was dealing with grown people's things as a kid.
And
And it's
go ahead.
it was hard, but I still made it.
Key word, you still made it. And that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. So we're finna get off into our next segment. Segment number 3. the birth of poetic healing. And we know this is your purpose. This is what you do, of course. You know that you're making an impact, right? So we're gonna be talking about the
Yes, sir.
birth of poetic healing in segment 3. How did poetic healing transform pain into poetry come to life?
Well, I met this young lady. Her name is Blair. Uh, that's her entertainment name, but her real name is Ingrid. Uh, I forgot where I met her at out here. I think I was doing a conference or something, and I was speaking, and she asked me, "Do I write?" And that she does poetry, and I was like, "Seriously?" And she was like, "Do you write?" I say, "I can." She's like, "Do you do poetry?" I say, "Yeah, I can." And then she was like, "Well, hey, won't you come to the dock? We do poetry there on Tuesday nights. Let me come and see what you're peeing about." And so I came, and I spit like 2 or 3 pieces. Like from that point on, I just picked up my pen and I just got to writing.
Okay.
And I also ran into this lady, her name Jasmine Vaughn. She's a poet, but she goes by the name of Brown Goddess. And it is like when I got finished, it's like it was a standing ovation. And she said, "I got a name for you." I was like, "Huh?" She was like, "Every word you say heals something." She said, "And I just want you to know that your name is Poetic Healing." I said, "Huh?" She was like, "Yes, I'm giving you a poet name." She said, "Because every word you spit, it heals. It brings peace." She said, and that's your name. And kudos to her because it stuck.
You know
Poetic
what?
healing, transforming pain into poetry, healing one verse at a time. It stuck.
Well, like that. When I first mentioned that poetic healing, I see how your face just lit up on that, and you know what I'm saying, big smile and lightness came when I mentioned the word poetic healing, which is good. And
Right,
we know that Paul knows Paul used to be Saul. He went to Paul, and we know that Peter's name was a rock, cause Peter mean rock, and we know Christ's name, so we know names mean something, right? So we don't know
right,
names when it comes to being powerful names, and we know that healing is part of God's kingdom because the scripture mission healing. So it's important for
right.
all of us, man, woman, child, to walk in true healing for the greater good. So you mentioned earlier about picking up a pen, of course, and just gonna lead back to when you pick the pen back up. What did that moment feel like?
Change breaking. I would say change breaking. I would say healing within myself. And I would also say freedom because when I put the pen to the paper, not only am I releasing, but I'm feeling relief to what I'm putting on the paper because it's no longer chained to me. And so when I pick up the pen, I feel freedom, I feel change breaking, and I feel relief because I don't have to tote it no more. I don't have to carry it no more. I don't have to hold it no more. You know, I don't have to keep it no more.
That's right.
And in my releasing, everybody not gonna tell what they went through. Everybody not gonna tell what they have gone through. Some people choose to stay quiet.
Yeah, they do.
But my thing of it is, how can you forget what happened to you and sit on what happened to you or turn a blind eye to what happened to you when it wasn't even your fault? When you can't help what nobody done to you, but you can help how you take control of your life and take your power back and heal from everything that was meant to break you. And so, with that even being said, Um, like I even started like 2 weeks ago of even going live because it's so many factors that goes in abuse that people fail to realize or recognize. I start talking about the signs, the different things you notice when a child is being molested, when a child is being fondled, when a child is being raped, when a child is being, groomed. The little simple stuff. It be the stuff that goes unnoticed. And I begin to even talk about how you have some men that prey on single women households that have kids. And it's not just boys, it's girls too and boys. And I think it's kind of like a complex because a girl is told, you have to be strong. A boy is told, you can't cry, and I feel like, or even the words, what happened in this house stays in this house. Those are words that kept me bound for decades. Not because of what happened to me, but because of the shame that would be inflicted on somebody else if I told what happened. Because not only that, they didn't want to deal with their own issues, but me keeping the peace for everybody else kept me in pieces. But nobody never looked at that. Nobody never paid attention to that. Nobody never paid attention to the struggles that I had due to what happened in this house stays in this house.
Yeah, it is tough, and I know it happens in every community, but I know you're only speaking from our community, of course, and we know
Right.
it happens on a regular basis. Uh, what happens in his house stays in his house, and what it does, it had to affect a lot of people, men and women, and it affects
Right.
them in their business life as well as their professional life, and also it damaged them. And when it comes to relationships, the
Yes.
trust
Yes.
factor, because we know when someone who's a victim of molestation, it comes from what trust, build up that false
Right.
trust, and now you can't trust no one else. You can't trust another man that enters
Right.
your life that wants to love you and treat you
Not
like
even
a
your own
queen.
father. Right. Because
Right.
the abandonment, like
Yeah.
you, and then, and that's why I say, like, my daddy was an addict, but my daddy also was over the age to even be, involved with my mom. And my dad was an addict. And so my dad wasn't in my life. Like my aunties, like they took up time with me. My cousins, my older cousins on my dad's side, they took up time with me, but my dad was in the streets. My dad was an addict. My daddy just not getting clean probably 4 years ago, and he almost 70 years old. And there you go. Broken home, broken family, no father figure. And every some of the stepfathers, that's what I'm saying. They weren't just being with my mama. Someone was looking at me. Someone was, molesting me. All but
Yeah.
and so therefore I grew up with all that. And so yeah, it did affect my relationship to the point, like I said, my daughter, my first child, her daddy was an addict. So it's a mirror, it's a reflection because of me not knowing the right way or the proper way. Yes, I did go looking for love in all the wrong places. And yes, I did end up with somebody just like my dad. And yes, I did have to fight through the domestic violence. And yes, I did have to run for my life to raise a child. But at the end of the day, again, I wasn't taught. I wasn't steered in the right direction. And some people fail to realize that when you're not even brought up the proper way, or you don't have the White House and the picket fence, or you don't have the two-parent household, in order for you to grow, you just have to jump out there. I was already out there. Before I even knew what was going on, I was out there. And so therefore it led to me to looking for love in all the wrong places. it led to me getting in relationships that I thought was a relationship, but it was just a one-sided relationship. Or I end up in domestic violence situations. Or I ended up prostituting myself, all because of lack, all because of not having, all because, again, not showing up the proper way. But at the end of the day, I still thank God for keeping me, for preserving me. And that's why I know everything that was taken, everything that was stolen, everything that was manipulated, everything that was schemed and plotted against, all because I didn't know. I know God gonna give it back to me. I know He gonna give it back to me. And I believe He gonna give it back to me. And that's the faith that I have to keep going, because I know that everything I've lost, God gonna give it back to me.
Right. Right.
And I
Because
believe that.
well, in script, he lets us know in the book of Joel, he lets us know that he restored the years that the cake worm, pillow worm took from him. So God is in the bit of restoring
Amen.
years. So that's what he does. He restores years. He renew our youth, and he renew our strength like the eagle, right? So that is his
Right,
promise. So he's always in the restoring business. He didn't say a day. I'm not gonna restore a day. I'm not gonna restore a month, a week. I'm gonna
right,
restore years, years with the S to the end. So we know he is restorer of years, and he will give you everything that he promised you, everything that he birthed within you for his glory and for his purpose, right? I don't understand why he tells us about in the word that we must be born again, but we're born again from a
right,
spiritual standpoint. So right now, it's lifestyle all over again. Yeah, we were born in the flesh. Now we're being reborn in the spirit, because we are
right,
spiritual beings in a human body, right? So we're starting all over again from a spiritual standpoint. And also, Scripture lets us know not to be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. We may know the
right.
good and acceptable and perfect will
Yes,
of the Most High. So we thank God for His mercy and grace and redeeming us. But we're going to get into the segment number 4, your book. You mentioned you are a 4-time, congratulations on
yes,
that, best-selling author on Amazon, of course. And your current book is The Scars of a Concrete Rose. It's powerful.
yes.
What inspired the title? What inspired that title?
Because the scars of a concrete rose. What inspired my title was, even though I have walked through the fire, and even though majority of the time I might not understood why I was going through so much, or why things was happening, or why I was repeating cycles, or why I couldn't move forward sometimes. What inspired the titles was, once I decided to take my own life in my hands and make the decision that I'm not what happened to me, but I'm who God says I am, and that I am His child. What inspired me was for me to say, you know what? Once I decided to take my own healing journey in my hands, and decide that, you know what? It's time for me to start healing.
That's it.
And that's when I knew then that I no longer have wounds.
Right.
I have scars.
Yeah.
So my scars, even though you might not see them, they're there. But there's no open wounds that nobody can throw salt in. There's no wounds where nobody can say, oh, therefore you ought to be shamed. There's no wounds to say, oh, you ought to feel sorry about where you come from or what you did or what happened. You can't wound me like that no more. You can't use what I've been through or the knowledge that I didn't know to use against me to make me feel any way or any less about myself. So that's where the scars come from, because I'm no longer the wound. I'm the scar, and scars heal.
You said it right there, Poetic Healing. Scars heal. At the end of the day, you're winning. And I'm glad and I'm proud of you for fighting back and not using what you went through as a crutch. Because a lot of individuals use it as a crutch.
Right,
But you made up in your mind that, hey, enough is enough. I'm fighting back because I know who I am in Christ. I know who you made me
right.
to be. You are a goddess. You are a queen. And you always
Thank
have to
you.
remind yourself of that, of course. And I know what message, let's go to the next one. What message do you want readers to walk away with after reading your book?
My message that I would want women, young girls, teenagers, Anybody that read it, I would like them to know again, you are not what nobody else done to you, but you are who God says you are. And regardless of the tears, regardless of how many tears you have to cry, don't let nobody tell you you're you're not healed, or you're too broken, or you're not good enough, because at the end of the day, and that's why I say my tears are not about sadness. No, my tears are because I made it through. My tears are because God gave me a second chance, and chance after chance after chance. My tears are because everything, even being born deceased, was meant to kill me. I survived. And God still has a purpose for even me. So I would want everybody that read this book know that you are who God says you are. But also to the young girls, I want them to know through everything that I have been through, even the mistakes I have made. Guess what? This don't have to be your story. You have a chance to read this book, take the good with the bad, and turn it around and become the person that you're proud of, in spite of what you have been through. You take this book and you say, well, I know the signs of molestation. I know the signs of rape. No, I do not have to put up with this. No, you are wrong. Find your voice. Use your voice. Do not be scared to tell your truth. Do not be scared to let other people know what's happening. Because when one person won't believe, another one will. But you got to make up in your mind that you're not who everybody else say you are.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, people are gonna put a label on you, whether you rich or whether you out there rolling around in the dirt and done lost your mind. People are gonna label you. They're gonna talk about you. They're gonna misjudge you. They're gonna misguide you. But it's totally up to you to decide who you gonna serve, who you gonna choose, and what you going to do.
Yeah, that's it. And before we go into further, I do have a request for you in the comment
Okay.
section. Big shout out to Mrs. Jones out of the Fort Worth area, Texas. She's a big supporter of the platform of the Just Saying and the Walk in Its Ways. She said, "Spit for me right now." She wants you to do a freestyle. Do you that just request?
Uh, I don't
I
do
mean, it's
no
up to you. It's
freestyle.
up. It's up to
Yeah,
you. You
but
know, it's up to you.
I do have my book here,
Well, go ahead if you want to go ahead and
and
share some. Go ahead and share some.
okay. This one called "Trauma Don't Love Me." Trauma don't love me. You see, trauma tries to take everything from me. Trauma don't love me. It keeps me on my knees. Trauma don't love me. It's like the stain with remnants that stayed. Trauma don't love me. All I can do is pray. Trauma don't love me. I know I'm not to blame. Ever since you entered my life, I haven't been the same. Trauma pierces your soul and aches every day. Trauma doesn't care who you are. It hunts you, traps you, and fill you up with fear and anxiety is in your way. Trauma don't love me. It takes my happiness and joy that I thought would stay. Trauma robbed me when it stole my childhood away.
And awesome song. You know, I love this. I do. I love poet how you utilize your gift, your talent, and professional with it, and also make an impact and taking your gift seriously as well. So let's talk about that gifting and taking your gift seriously, because everybody has a gift, right? Even the scripture lets us know
Right.
in Proverbs that our gift shall make room for us. How is important for us as individuals to utilize our gift? Because we've been programmed to go to work, collect the paycheck, pay bills, and that's it. And then be on a job for 30 plus years and retire, think you're living a good life. But God has given us a gift. What would you share with someone about utilizing your gift? Because your gift, I do believe, is part of your prosperity. Because your gift open up door and bring before great men.
All right. I'm living through that right now. I'm walking through that right now. So with me, like I say, taking my healing in control and learning to lean on God for when I am weak and leaning on his strength, I would say using my gift, the things that brought me so much pain and so much trauma and so much, depression, anxiety through all of the things, I would say using my gift, still it brings me joy because again, it could change the trajectory of somebody else's life. Using my gift of poetry has opened up doors to where now I have performed on stage with international poets, poets that done been all over the world, poets that are number one poets in 3 or 4 different states. One of them was Black Chakra. I performed on the stage with him this month of April. I also performed on the stage with Masterpiece, the poet. And each poet deposited something in me that I believe God is going to use to continue to launch me forward. And that is, you are chosen. And that is, you keep pushing your pen. And that is, you got a word for the world to hear. And that is, the world need to hear your story. And that is that you are chosen for this. So I would advise anybody, it doesn't matter what your gift is, but me, like I say, taking my healing in control and leaning on God and giving God first the complete yes to say, you know what, no matter what it look like, I'm going with you. And I'm seeing that again, it's opening up doors for me that I never thought I would be able to walk through, to be on the stage performing with international poets, to be able to like 2 weeks ago, I even went to a conference and this lady prophesied to me, which is Floresita LaFleur. And she said, you need to go into the juvenile system. And I was like, what? Juvenile system? Which that's the thing, like I always wanted to talk to young girls and I always wanted to try to help them, but I never knew which direction that I would take besides writing. And so, and what I love about her, like she didn't even know me. She told me this the first day she met me. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. How do I go about it? She was like, sis, it's okay. You just start calling around and see what happens. So I end up calling this girls juvenile detention center, Scott D. Moore Detention Center. And she said, when you get ready to go, you let me know. And I was like, hey, I got transportation. My truck is in the shop, but I got to give you some gas. And she was like, no, I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing. And I was like, but she was like, but I'm almost 2 hours away from you. And I was like, okay, so, but I'm gonna give you some gas. She was like, no, I don't want nothing. She said, no, I'm just doing what God told me to do. She said, so I'm taking you to the juvenile facility and I'm gonna let you tell your story. And we're gonna put you there and you're gonna be able to go in and you're gonna be able to speak to these young girls. And I'm like, this is crazy. But then God showed me that's why it's very important to take heed of who's speaking into your life. Because if it's a prophecy that I said, then they don't have no problem with walking you through it and walking it out with you and watching it come into fruition and watching you thrive and soar on just what I told them to tell you. And I kid you not, I walked in that place, she walked in right beside me. And she said, tell your story. She said, talk to them, tell them. And that chaplain there, he told me, he said, hey, here's the application. Fill this out. Send it back in. He said, you can come volunteer, bring your Bible. And that's all you have to bring. He said, you can bring your Bible and you can bring your book. He said, because it's plenty girls here that is in this system. And even though I'm a chaplain, and even though I'm here for them, but they need somebody like you, rough around the edges, somebody done been through what they done been through, somebody done grew up in that type of environment, somebody that grew up in a fatherless home. They need people like you to come speak into them. And I kid you not. I'm just waiting on the paperwork to come back. I'm just thinking, guys, so then it went from there to I went to another facility last weekend, the Henry D. Wade Detention Center in Dallas.
Okay.
It opened up a door for me to come there in that juvenile facility and speak to the young girls there. So all I'm saying is I'm walking into what I always wanted. I'm walking into what I've dreamed of, the things that I can do. I'm walking into things that they was only just childhood dreams, because these were the dreams that I was having to escape the pain and the trauma and the things that I was dealing with. These are the type of dreams that I would have, that I would be able to talk to young girls, that I would be an author and be able to write a book, that I would be able to be on billboards. I done been on billboards in Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida. I done been on billboards in all these different states, and my feet ain't even touched them yet. I also I just landed a part in a play called The Mother Inmates. I never acted a day before in my life, but this young lady named Patrice Day, she inboxed me. She say, "Hey, you so passionate about being a mother, and you very passionate about what you do." She was like, "You might need to take this and go out for this." And I'm like, "Huh, girl, I don't know how to act." That's why I put my portrait on my phone. I don't remember line for line. Like I don't do that. Like that's not me. She was like, just go, just go. And I'm leaving the detention center. I'm getting ready to go, and I'm like, Lord, this audition is in a few minutes. I'm about 30 minutes away, and I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, God, should I go? I don't know. And I'm just sitting there. And he said, get up and go to the audition. And I'm like, now you already know I don't know how to act. You don't know how to remember no lines. I said, but since you say go, I'ma go. He said, go. The way has already been made. Just go. Just show up. And I swear I just showed up. And it was a lady there that was sitting with the judges that I had modeled for her in her Macy's fashion show. And I come in the door running because I just left this event. And I come in the door running, and I was like, hey, I'm Mirada Bradford. I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing, but let's do it. And she just got up and she just reached her arms out to me. Her and her husband was sitting there. And she just hugged me. It just felt like a hug that I received from my mom. And she was like, you got this. You gonna do it. You got this. You got this. Here, I'm finna give you this script and I'm finna give you this script. Let's go. And I kid you not. I was laying in the bed and my son say, Mama, you got an email for mother of inmates and you have been casted in the play. Like I jumped up out my bed and I just started thanking God in that moment because the lady's story that it is, her name is Miss Teresa Tarpley. Like everything, like from her kids getting taken, being incarcerated, dealing with prostitution, dealing with trauma, raising kids, no help, like all that, been through all that. And I'm just like, Lord have mercy. And I'm talking about, I just jumped and I just started praising God. I said, God, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but you open this door, I'm going through it. Any door you open for me, I'm going through it. Fear would not stop me. Trauma would not stop me. What I've been through won't stop me. My past won't stop me. No, I'm going to get what was taken from me. And whatever got my name on it, I want it and I'm coming for it.
You
that's
better.
it. That's it. And that's all. I'm coming for it. And
They'll
that's
tell you
why I
better.
tell people, everybody healing don't look like yours. And the people that haven't been through what I've been through, of course, you're not gonna understand my tears. You're not gonna understand my praise. You're not gonna understand my story. But it's always somebody else that done been through something like it, something similar. But to those people, I would like to say, we're not victims. We're victorious.
That's right.
And we are a special group of people that God saw fit for us to still make it through and still be resilient in what we do. So don't take your bad experiences as experiences to where you can't make it out. Take it as experiences as God is giving you a chance to redeem yourself and to be free and to be able to help someone else. Because again, my pain pushed me into purpose, but my gift also made room for me.
Mm-hmm.
It
And it
made
is.
room for me.
And it
And
will.
it's making room for me. And the lady gonna tell me, after I spit poetry on the stage where she said, you need a passport. And I'm like, Lord. I said, well, God, you gonna have to do what only you can do because I can't afford no passport. And she said, just keep going. She said, just keep going. I said, thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Honor.
Cause you know what it says, poet. It says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things gonna be added unto you." Cause we don't have to seek after the things. The things gonna come after us. All we gotta do is seek Him first. And then I know in Isaiah 119, let's know if we
Yes,
be willing and
Lord.
obedient, we should eat the good of the land. He calls for our obedience. He calls for the do of the word. And also, big shout out to Mrs. Jones. I know you're gonna be a part of an event on April the 18th at Forest Hill
Yes.
Library. It's gonna be you and a bunch of writers, correct writers and authors who's gonna be there. Elaborate on that event on February the 18th. What people will expect that's gonna come to that event on February. Oh, I said February on
It's okay.
April 18th. I apologize for that. April the
It's okay.
18th, Mrs. Jones. So, what are y'all expecting on April the 18th at Forest
Oh,
Hill Library?
we're just expecting the surrounding communities to just come out. It's gonna be authors alike. Um, we're gonna share the word, share poetry, share books, fellowship, network. Miss Di always had the best food. I swear. I don't care what event she throws, she's gonna have the best food. So I know for a fact you're gonna eat good, you're gonna fellowship, and you're going to be able to do more in the community because she gonna push you. And that's, I would like to give my utmost respect to her. Because from
Right,
the first day that lady met me, and to this day, she pours it. I don't care if she even send me a message through Messenger or she send me a message through text message. Like, she pours into me and she pushes me. And on my dark day, she calls me and she say, hey, let me pray with you. Hey, I'm finna pray with you real quick. I'm busy. I got to go. I'm doing something. But hey, let me pray with you right quick. Like she keep me on my toes. Like she just pour into me. She just pour into me. And Lord knows I need that. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm appreciative to that because again, I don't have my grandparents. I don't have my mom. So these are people that's a part of your village that you want to be a part of your wins and that you want to show, look, I'm on the other side, but I don't have that. And for her to take all that in accountability and say, you know what? I got you. You know what? You're gonna be okay. You know what? I'm here for you. And sometimes that all that matters for someone to just say, you know what? In spite of everything you went through, I'm here for you. And
right,
I thank her tremendously. Like I thank God for her, for being that cushion for me, for being that rock to me, for being that support to me, for giving me permission to keep dreaming, to keep going, to keep pushing. I thank her wholeheartedly from the bottom of my heart for everything that she do for me. And I just want to give her flowers because again, she do what I need to be done in a motherly aspect, in a spiritual aspect, in a godly aspect. And I love her for that. And I'm always be grateful for that. Always.
Man,
Always.
awesome. You know, like I said, Mrs. Jones, she's a great woman. She's been very supportive of the platform since day one. So kudos
Yes.
to Ms. Jones for the work that she does because she always give back to the community. She always showcase other people. She never make it about herself. So I gotta
Yes.
give her flowers too. So big shout out to Mrs. Jones. I know everybody ready to wrap it up. We at that time frame, of course. But I want everybody to be able to tune back in tonight. Well, not tonight, but this evening. This evening is
Okay.
gonna be me and Lo. We're gonna be back here tonight on the Just Saying podcast today at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Central. I mean, it's 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Our guest is inspirational keynote world class speaker Edmund W. Davis. He's out of the
Oh
great state of
wow.
Arkansas. He's gonna be on this evening at 5. So y'all make sure y'all tune in for that. They have an upcoming HBCU event that's taking place dealing with the AI and everything else. So man, y'all be in tune with that because we're going with AI going and the chat GPT going and all this stuff is going. That's where we're heading right now in our
Yes.
generation, right? So we gotta make sure we catch up what's going on. It's all about involving. So my question for you, Poet, if I let you go, because I know you're a very productive woman, I'm respectful for your time. What legacy do you want to leave behind? That's gonna be our closeout question. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I would want to leave behind. It doesn't matter where you come from. What God got for you is for you. And you have to reach for the stars. And even in spite of everything you have been through, I want my legacy to be that I made it. I overcame. Not only did I survive, I thrived. I made it. I made it out. I want the world to know that what God is doing for me, He also can do for you. And you are allowed to have a bad day. You are allowed to know that even though sometimes it might feel lonely, God is always there and He never leaves. So, again, I just want the world to know and my legacy to be that in spite of everything I went through, even though I cried, I survived.
Man, that sums it up right there that you survive. And so we about to agree to depart. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and tune in, be a part of the April 18th event that's gonna
Yeah.
be taking place at Forest Hill
Forest Hill.
Library. Forest Hill Library from 1 to 4. It is so bring the family out. It's gonna be a lot of great people that's gonna be a part of it. Of course, you Marcy, the GF Soldier, Ms. Jones, of course. So y'all come on out to Forest Hill Library on April the 18th from 1 to 4. Ms. Jones said we're looking forward to seeing everyone else. So bring your family. Y'all come on out and be a part of something great, of course. And also Author Showcase. We're going to share our arts, crafts, our talent as artists with the community, and we're going to embrace one another and network. So y'all come on out April 18th from 1 to 4. So y'all be a part of that. Get more information updates as well. Also, so
Yeah.
that really sums it up. Like I said, me and Lo will be back here this evening at 5 p.m. on the Just Saying podcast with well-known keynote speaker Edmund Davis out of Arkansas, talking about the upcoming event they have going on in Arkansas, dealing with the HBCU on the black colleges. So y'all be tuned, y'all tune in for that as well also. So man, great things, great stuff in store. Big shout out to you as well, Poetic Healing. Thank you once again, man,
Thank
for taking
you.
time out your productive schedule. Come on here as well. But before I let you go, do you have any words of advice, any sounds of wisdom you want to leave you to listen honest if you're ready to depart? And I want everybody to enjoy the rest of their hump day.
Any words of wisdom that I could give to the world is that God never leaves, and He's always there. He always here because even when life get the life and pick up your word, even with tears in your eyes, pick up your word and just bask in the goodness of God because in these days and times, that's the only person you can depend on. It is God. So I'm just wanting the world to know that, without God, we can't do nothing. But with God, we can do everything and just continue to keep God first. Every day is not going to be peaches and ice cream, but just know God is within me and He is within you, and you will not fail. Just keep pushing, keep looking forward. Don't
Yeah.
look back.
And that's right. And that is. That sums it up right there. So we about to go to depart. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, go ahead, tune in at 5 p.m. today. We're going to be back with a keynote speaker, well-renowned Edmund Davis out of Arkansas, going to be a part of this evening's podcast. So me and Lo will be in the building as well. So y'all make sure y'all tune in for that. Also, go ahead and hit that notification button, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, and be on the lookout for more content. And we go live every Wednesday at 5. This right here was a special mid-morning edition that we did. So we normally go live at
Oh,
5 p.m. So, bitch, thank you once again for coming on here. Also, I will be
yes,
back
sir.
Saturday on the other platform, the Walk in This Way. We'll be back this coming Saturday for the Walk in This Way Impact Was podcast. That's at 11 a.m. Central. And of course, we'll do the Tuesday night show, which is the Walk in This Way's Tuesday nights at 7. So y'all be also look out for that. So go ahead and like, subscribe to our YouTube channel over at the other platform, the Walk in This Way. Major content, major moves, and that's what we all about here on for Gateway 8082. That's a company that we formed here in the state of DFW. So Gateway 8082 Media Company. It housed both of the Walking This Way and the Just Saying podcast. So y'all be on the lookout for that. And also we thank you everybody for tuning in as well. Miss Jones said, receive love too. Big shout out to Miss Jones. She's been very supportive, so I gotta give her the credit on that as well. And also give big
Amen.
shout out to my teammate Lois with her absence on today. But like I said, she will be on here today at 5. So y'all make sure y'all tune in. And we have a great conversation with Mr. Davis out of Arkansas with the upcoming event they have taking place. It's a 2-day event that's gonna be taking place. He's gonna talk more about that. That's gonna be in Arkansas. So we're gonna make a major move outside of Texas as well. So man, y'all be on the lookout for that. So that sums it up. That's all my
Yes, sir.
rundown, all my announcements as well. Oh, go ahead and plug the book. Boy, this is about you then, ma'am. So go ahead and plug the book where people can go get the book and support the work that you're doing. I totally forgot about that, but go ahead and plug in where people can purchase the book.
Okay, I'm gonna put the link in here for Amazon.
Okay, it's on
Okay,
Amazon. Okay.
yeah, it's on Amazon.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. I love you guys. Thank you for this time with you all. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, and thank you, Miss Marcy as well for tuning in as well. So you just sent me the link. I'm gonna copy the link, and so
Okay,
people can.
it went in.
I'm putting in the comment section so people can go over
Okay,
there and do that.
thank you.
So it is in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. I posted in the comment section. Y'all head on over there right now on Amazon and purchase a copy of the book. And Mrs. Jones, that Mitch Jones said, she said, girl, I didn't mean for you to make all of us cry. Tune in and listen to Absorb Baby. You delivered on this interview. So thank you, Mrs. Jones, as well. Also, once again. So we are out this thing. So the name of the book is called Poetic Healing, Transformation Pain into Poetic Healing, one verse at a time. So thank Poetic Healing for coming on here again. Like I said, we're about to get ready to depart. As well, there she go.
It clicked
It's
me
all
out.
good.
I didn't hear
Nah,
you.
you good. I was saying I did post a link in there, but Mrs. Jones said didn't mean for you to make us all cry, tune in to listen. And she absorbed, baby. You delivered on this interview. So your interview really made an impact on a lot of people. So thank Mrs. Jones
Oh,
as
thank
well.
you.
The link is also in the comment section. Y'all head on to Amazon, purchase a copy of the book. let's support Poet and what she got going on, support her ministry as well, right? So yeah, just support the ministry as well. And the name of the book, correct, is pull this up. Poetic Healing, transforming pain into poet, healing one verse at a time. See, I head on over to Amazon right now. It's all about the spirit of excellence, supporting our entrepreneurs, supporting our book authors, supporting our leaders. That's what it's all about, right? Business owners, business leaders. I love how Jay-Z said we play defense. Now in 2026, we gotta play offense. You know, you gotta make things
Amen.
happen. You gotta go get. We played defense far too long. We played it safe far too long. You got to get out there and make things shake and make things happen. So we got this thing, of course, and we will see you today at 5 p.m. on the next episode of the Just Saying podcast. Peace, everybody.
Peace.